You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 170. I'm your host, Nicholas Prom.
And I'm Spencer Valdez.
Comic Reflections is brought to you by Rhymes with Geek. You can check out our show, plus many other cool podcasts like the all-new Anti-Fanboy, Feed It Comics, and Super Podcasto Magnifico at rhymeswithgeek.com. Comic Reflections is also available on backissueheroes.com, the home of classic comics on the web. And if you enjoy our show, please subscribe to us on either iTunes or Stitcher. Yes.
You can do all those things.
Yes, and more. We like us on Facebook, you follow us on Twitter, all that wonderful crap.
We don't have an Instagram because we're not 14-year-old girls.
Now you just totally alienated our 14-year-old girl market.
Sean is.
Sean, our friend Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, let's dive in.
Yes, so, hey, this is, we're talking about Silver Age Green Lantern.
Yeah.
This is, I think, part 3 of this volume?
Yeah.
I think
so
that's
this
right.
presents Green Lantern.
Volume 2.
Yep.
But this is, I think, our 3rd episode that we'll be recording from this volume.
Yeah.
So, so the first issue we're going to read, or talk about, we read it already, there, is Green Lantern number 25 from December of 1963. And the story in this issue is called War of the Weapon Wizards, written by Gardner Fox, penciled by Gil Kane, and inked by Joe Giella.
Cool.
Yeah.
This issue was a lot of fun. It's a 3-part issue.
Well, it's the whenever DC had a book-length feature, they tend to break it up into 3 chapters and call it a 3-part novel.
Right.
And that was kind of like a selling point. So this is one of those. And
were they any more expensive than?
No.
Oh, okay.
But it's just cool. You
It's
know.
a
Right.
novel.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just it's a marketing kind of thing.
Gotcha.
So, but this is great because we get the return of Hector Hammond.
Yeah. And Sonar.
And Sonar.
Yep.
Yes.
So we actually
The
start
villain
off
who just can't win.
He is. It's kind of sad.
Well, most villains are the villain who just can't win, but he's really
right.
eh.
He misses out on a lot of good opportunities.
Yeah. Bless you.
Excuse me.
So
We start the story off with Hector Hammond.
he's in jail.
He's in jail, where Green Lantern has left him after being punched in the face
Yeah.
by Green Lantern.
Punch a cripple in the face, Green Lantern. So yeah, he's totally paralyzed, but he's also immortal and super intelligent.
Right. So he, with the power of his mind, he melts the bars and hypnotizes the guard to carry him out and start to kind of exact his plan.
Yeah. One thing I was weird, I'm like there's a couple panels of the guard carrying him, and he looks like just like this little guy.
Yeah.
But I remember when he was introduced, before he got the big brain and everything, he was a normal sized man.
Yeah.
So did the powers make him a dwarf? I don't know. Or maybe who knows? Maybe the guard is 7 feet tall.
Right.
Doubtful.
So with a flashback with Hector Hammond, we get the story that Green Lantern punched him in the face, but while he did that, Hector Hammond, using his powers, deadened his brain to make it seem like he wasn't active enough to escape the prison that Green Lantern put him in.
Even though he's physically immobile,
Right.
his brain can do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. And so he tricks Green Lantern into putting him in jail and like he puts his brain on like a timer, and 6 months from when he's locked away, it's going to reactivate and he's going to be able to plot his revenge.
All of these weird, like, convoluted tricks of how you think a villain who is totally defeated get out of whatever that thing is.
Right.
You see that so much at DC in the Silver Age. Man, wait till you get to read a bunch of Silver Age Superman stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's all kinds of stuff like that. Yeah.
So, Hector Hammond makes a plan.
Yeah.
He uses what's his name? Sonar.
Yeah.
He breaks Sonar out of prison. Kind of mind control-ish.
He gives like a post-hypnotic suggestion. Sonar doesn't know he's being used by Hector Hammond, and Green Lantern doesn't know Hector Hammond is behind the escape of Sonar.
Right.
It's really cool. It's like he's doing things behind the scenes, and it's neat.
Yeah.
Like, how's that? You know, your arch foe is plotting against you and causing all this stuff to happen, and you don't even realize it's him?
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, Sonar escapes. We flash over to Green Lantern, and he gets a signal a radio call that Sonar has escaped his prison and has been sighted in Coast City.
Yeah.
And he takes off, and he goes and he has a long fight with Sonar. He gets wrapped up in some I-beams.
Girders from buildings being built.
Sorry.
So here's something. Just because superhero comics have people who literally shoot I-beams, that's why I wanted to make sure we were saying girder.
Right.
So there's no confusion there. But also, Hector Hammond kind of amplified Sonar's powers.
Yeah, I forgot.
And he's able to like just control sound like from his body, not using external devices.
Right. Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
He's walking on sound or air or whatever. It's weird.
Yeah. And so the first part of the story ends with Green Lantern looking like he's in peril.
Mm-hmm.
But really, he escapes the dangers of the girders, and he melts a couple. And while he's distracted, Sonar loosens the top of a building and kind of throws it at Green Lantern.
Yeah, like rubble falling down.
He opens like an umbrella, kind of.
Hal does. Green Lantern.
Green Lantern opens an umbrella
to kind of repel that stuff.
Right. But while he's distracted with that, Sonar knocks over a statue of Lady Justice in kind of an ironic way of trying to kill Green Lantern.
Yeah.
He's fighting for justice, and he's killed by justice.
But not actually killed.
But not, because he comes up with a fire stoker air blower thing.
Oh god, what is that called? Crap, it's on the tip of my tongue. But go ahead, continue on.
Yeah. And he blows Lady Justice over, and
what the hell is that called?
Sonar hits him with these intense waves from his tuning fork gun, which is always weird to say.
Yeah.
But
is flume the word?
I think so.
Stoker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A flume. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Green Lantern's protected by his ring, and Sonar hits Green Lantern with a different wavelength or something like that.
Yeah.
And it knocks him back a bit, and Sonar is able to take the ring.
Yeah.
Or no, he's like superheats it somehow.
Right.
And Hal like throws it off of himself, and Sonar scoops up and grabs it.
And he's not burned because apparently he's got asbestos in his gloves.
Right. Yeah.
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 Because you just have that, I guess.
Yeah.
Asbestos.
But at the same time, Green Lantern gets a hold of the tuning fork gun.
Yeah.
And so they've switched weapons.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool.
But see, Hal, not very experienced with the tuning fork gun, but he also has a level of control over the ring even when it's not on him.
Right.
If he's within a certain distance. So that gives him an advantage.
A bit of an advantage.
I mean, even though... And also, Sonar doesn't have experience using the ring.
Absolutely.
So... but it's cool. Those kinds of switcheroos are really fun.
Yeah. They make it into a building, and Hal uses the tuning fork gun to, like, reflect off the floor and then off the ceiling, and, like, gets Sonar into a point where he can take the ring off his hand.
Yeah.
And defeat him.
Yeah. So Hector Hammond's like, man, I can't believe I got beat.
Yeah, it turns out that it wasn't actually happening. It was... all this was going on in Hal Jordan's mind. Yeah, it was how Hector Hammond got in there, and he figured out how Green Lantern would fight Sonar in all these situations.
Oh, this was just a test. See,
Yeah.
I missed that. I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
So Green Lantern meets up with Pieface and makes Pieface, be a stand-in for Hal.
Yeah.
Because Hal's got a date or something with Carol.
Right. It might be like a charity event. Or
Yeah, I think it's something like that.
Yeah.
It always is.
And so then, right after he does that, he gets the call that Sonar is in Coast City, and he's robbing... Oh, no. He just destroyed the roof of the Skyline building.
Yeah.
And he's robbing the Skyline bank.
Yeah. So now we're talking about the beginning of the chapter, the third chapter in this story, and I love this splash page.
Yeah.
It is so cool. Sonar looking crazed, his face superimposed over a montage of like that training battle we had in the previous part with Green Lantern, and it's cool.
Yeah. And so the fight picks up right after they switched weapons.
Yeah.
And so the fight ensues, and let's see.
So funny when I do this show with Jeff, and like there's a long fight, and he's like, and fighting and fighting and fighting, and then
it's hard not to say that right now because it's a lot. It's really similar to how the fight just went happen. You know?
Yeah, and I'm like, really, we don't need to get play by fights,
right?
Because it's kind of, I think, part of this is go read this.
Yeah.
So, and you get the enjoyment of that when you read it. So
right. Something I did pick up, which was really cool. Green Lantern gets trapped in a box, and he uses the tuning fork on himself to vibrate himself through a point so he can go through it.
Because then he mentions my pal the Flash in the Justice League vibrates through stuff, so maybe I can do it too.
Right, and it totally works.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Sonar is flying...
Anything works in a comic book.
Right. Sonar is flying what he thinks is Green Lantern in a box back to Moveria, I think.
Medora,
yeah.
Moveria.
But Hal gets back, and he has the tuning fork gun, and he causes like a whirlwind or something over the sea. It was like a typhoon or something.
I think he uses the word geyser, but
a geyser.
Since it's at sea, that's not a geyser.
Right.
But anyway.
Hal gets his ring back, puts Sonar in a cage, and
takes him back to prison, doesn't he?
Right, yeah, takes him back to prison, and Hector Hammond is mad.
Yeah.
But Hal never figures it out.
So he had no idea Hector Hammond had anything to do with it.
Right.
So he just goes back and meets up with Pieface as Hal.
Right.
And Carol, and everything's hunky-dory.
Yeah.
So, the end.
Crazy. So Hector Hammond is still
out there plotting and doing stuff. I mean, he's still... Is he free, or is he still in prison? I wasn't sure about this.
I think he's free. He had the guard lead him out, or like carry him out.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah.
So let's talk about Green Lantern number 26.
Yeah, let's do that.
This is the January of 1964 issue, and the lead story is called Star Sapphire Unmasks Green Lantern, written by Gardner Fox, penciled by Gil Kane, and inked by Joe Giella.
It's true.
This is a great issue.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So the story starts off with Carol, and she's at the police department, like where souvenirs of unsolved mysteries are.
If you or anyone you know has any information,
it's like leaving evidence out for the criminals to come back and steal.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Interesting. I never even thought about that, but okay.
But one thing that was in the display case was the Star Sapphire, the stone that caused
her to become the Star Sapphire.
Right.
Queen of the Zamarons.
Uh-huh. And so she goes through her transformation, and we get the backstory of how she became the Star Sapphire and all that.
That'd be a great story to read, Star Sapphire against Wonder Woman. And the Zamarons versus the Amazons. Think about that. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Or it might be just too ridiculous, though. I don't know. So, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So, she immediately starts looking for Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And she uses the wall to use as a sound device, to listen through the wall.
Okay.
And so she hears Green Lantern talking with, police chief about the copter gang and how they've robbed a few banks now and...
Via helicopter?
Right, and they gotta be stopped.
Right.
That's a nifty name.
The Copter Gang?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exactly what they do.
Right, okay. So Star Sapphire, or she, like hits Green Lantern in the head with her power beam thing, and she like slows his time down,
Yeah.
so she has a chance to go and capture the Copter Gang herself.
Right. Why is she doing this? She wants to prove herself worthy of Green Lantern's, like, because she wants him to be her courtesan or her whatever.
Right. And so
that's not the word, but yeah.
Yeah.
Because the Zamorans want her to abandon her love for Green Lantern, and she's like, "Look, maybe if I have him choose him as a mate, and prove that I'm better than him and stuff, then you guys will be cool with that."
Right. Yeah.
It's strange, but it's okay.
So she sees the Copter Gang, and she turns one of their helicopters
Into a flying carpet.
and the other one, she just blows the propeller off the top of it.
Yeah.
And uses her magic beam to pull them out with using like mechanical arms that she created from the helicopter to pull the guys out. And they're like, "Hey, who's this lady? We know about Green Lantern, but this broad is kicking our butts." Green Lantern shows up and he realizes, "Oh crap! It's Star Sapphire. She's crazy."
Just like Carol.
Yeah.
What a coincidence.
Yeah. And so Star Sapphire brings them back to the police chief.
Yeah.
Hey, we caught them. And Hal's like, "Well, hold on."
She's one for robbery and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, man, what a squealer.
And she kind of turns around. She's like, "Well, technically, I never actually stole anything.
All the stuff I retrieved was stuff planted there by the Zamorans, so nobody,
Right.
like, nothing was stolen. So
Yeah. And so he's still really cautious of Star Sapphire.
yeah.
And then it turns a little more relationship crazy.
Yeah.
So Star Sapphire has this plan to weaken the will of Green Lantern so that she can convince him to propose to her so they can get married.
Right.
And then the whole Zamaroni thing would be solved.
So, but anyway, some monsters show up that are like the most lazily conceived generic Gil Kane monsters.
Well, I mean, they look a lot like other monsters he's already drawn.
Yeah, it's just like dream up a monster real quick.
Yeah.
And did she create them?
Yeah.
To create a scenario where
we find out a little later, but
okay.
Green Lantern's ring is impervious to them, and and so his ring won't affect them. They're not even like yellow. I don't think. I think they just it doesn't work well.
Right.
And so they kind of walk through the wrap that he puts around them, the lasso thing he puts around them.
Yeah.
He puts up a dome above the Ferris factory, because that's what they're trying to get to destroy. And then he does this weird like tractor thing, like scooper thing, and lifts the entire factory out of the ground.
Oh, it's like a steam shovel scoop.
Yeah. Lifts the entire factory out of the ground, and like,
what all the plumbing and electricity?
Yeah.
Come on, Hal.
But then he realizes that
It's going to cost the city thousands of dollars.
Thousands.
He realizes that these creatures are actually like a few seconds ahead in time.
Yeah, that's right, because she had slowed down his time for some weird reason.
And so that's why his powering was useless against them.
Oh, because... Oh, right. He was doing... out of sync. Now I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so all the fighting, Star Sapphire flies in, destroys the monsters outright.
So it's a ruse.
Yeah, and his will is weakened. Enough to the point where she says, "You must propose to me, so ask me to be your wife, Green Lantern. Yes, I must do as you say. Will you marry me, Star Sapphire?"
And then he kind of comes to his senses. And
yeah,
he's
she grapples him and
he's like, "I'll marry you if you can unmask me."
Yeah.
And then
she tries to take it off,
but he's using his ring to make the mask stick to his face too hard, so she can't do it.
Right. back at Ferris Air,
Because he's got to go back and charge up the ring.
right? When he's back there, he's going through the solemn oath,
Yeah.
and in that moment,
She shows up.
pops the mask off of him.
Yeah.
And so he says, well, you got me. It's only fair if you show me who you are.
So he takes her mask off. He's like, holy crap, it's Carol.
Yeah. But as soon as he takes her mask off, she kind of falters and, like,
She comes to
faints.
and doesn't realize that she is a Star Sapphire. And so obviously, I think Star Sapphire knows that Hal's Green Lantern, but Carol does not.
Right, because they're kind of a split personality.
Yeah, and that gets even more complicated in the 80s when I think Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons created the Predator, who was the male being that kind of came out of her consciousness and was an enemy of Green Lantern. It's weirdness.
Yeah. And so...
Messed up childhood, huh?
I guess, man.
So, while he, after she's removed the mask and is Carol Ferris again,
Yeah.
he beams her head and kind of, like, messes with her subconscious and, like, makes sure she doesn't remember any of this.
Flashy things are.
Right. Yeah, like that movie. But you're right. He still, next time Star Sapphire shows up, he's going to have to marry Star Sapphire. Because she will remember, although Carol won't.
Yeah, so complications,
Yeah.
man.
Our backup story...
Which could have been a lead feature.
Yeah, totally.
This is so good. It's called World Within the Power Ring.
Yeah.
And let's see. This was written by Gardner Fox, penciled by Gil Kane, and inked by Joe Giella.
Yeah.
And this introduces another DC Comics imp.
Yeah.
The wizard Merwidden.
Merwidden.
Now, this is like the fourth DC imp that I can think of. Okay, because Batman's got Batmite. Superman has Mr. Mxyzptlk. Aquaman has Quisp. There's so many imps.
Right.
And now Merwidden.
Yep.
I gotta read a story where like all the imps get together and battle the Legion of Super Pets or something crazy. Fanfic. Fanfic time, baby. So.
This story starts with Pieface, Turga, and Hal having dinner. Turga gets up to do the dishes.
No Carol, huh?
It's the 50s. I don't know if it's actually the 50s or not.
It's the 60s.
Okay.
1964.
Close enough.
Yeah, so it's basically the 50s still.
Yeah, I mean, really the 60s, as you think of them,
Right.
didn't really happen until like 1966.
Yeah, when women were awesome. So she goes, does the dishes or whatever. And Hal tells this story to Pieface. So, hey, tell me a good story, pal. And Hal, all right.
Well, let me tell you how I met this wizard who's like an important part of my rogues gallery that I never mentioned to you before.
So he says, right, it began when I was on my way back from a Justice League of America meeting. They have
Later at the Hall of Justice. Okay, what?
Do you think they have to pay dues?
The League?
Yeah.
That's a league, I'd assume so.
I don't know. I'm betting Bruce Wayne's probably footing the bill for like the let's see, because at this time the Justice League is in the mountain. I can't remember what it's actually called. Their mountain sanctuary.
Justice Mountain.
No, I don't know if it's called that, but they have like a mountain sanctuary. And then spoilers at sometime in the end of the 60s, Snapper Carr is duped by the Joker into betraying them, and so that hideout is like blown up. And then they build the satellite. We have the satellite era in the 70s through the early 80s, and that's like 1,230,000 something miles from Earth. I'm totally getting that wrong, but it's in space, the satellite era.
Okay.
Wow, that's really far.
Well, relatively speaking, it's kind of not.
Well, for a satellite, it's pretty far.
Well, it's not going to get like drawn into the Earth's orbit and burn up, though. That's one of them, Okay. Anyway, I totally butchered the actual distance. I know it, but it's not coming to. Let's just carry on.
Right.
I don't think the Justice League members pay dues.
Who do you think is in charge of the party planning committee?
Well, it's not Batman because he's the party poopa. But Batman's probably footing the bill. And then once Ollie Queen joined the league, he's probably also helping out.
Do you think they have like an officership that they elect every year?
I don't know. These are really good questions. When we get to the Justice League in the showcase, maybe these will be addressed.
I hope so.
Yeah, there should
These
be
are
like
important
There
questions.
should be like a four-part,
Really?
a four-part, issue thing where they're just like discussing officer discussions and stuff. I would like that.
Interesting.
Anyway, back to our main story, or our
Yes.
backup story. So, Hal's flying back from the Justice League, and he runs into none other than Abin Sur.
What?
Yeah, but Abin Sur throws this giant hammer at him.
That kind of looks like Mighty Mjolnir.
Yeah. And in, kind of talking to him, he finds out that he's the evil counterpart to Abin Sur.
What?
Yeah, and that his power ring bolts won't do anything to him.
Right.
And so he finally nails him with one, and he just disappears.
Right.
Yeah.
Who does? Abin Sur?
Abin Sur.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he just kind of disappears.
Okay.
And so he looks at the ring and he's like, dude, what's up with that? And the ring begins to tell this tale of when...
Dude, what's up with that? Sorry,
I can't go for that.
These are paraphrases, folks.
Absolutely.
No kidding.
So the ring tells this tale of Abin Sur fighting the mighty
Merwitten.
And he finally defeats him and grabs him, binds his, gags him kind of,
Yeah.
so he can't use his magic because he
Yeah.
has to say words to use his magic. And then
Right.
shrinks him down and creates a world inside of the power ring to hold him.
And that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Merwitten has this crazy hair, by the way.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. It's crazy awesome.
When I first looked at the cover page, I thought it was a Guardian.
The splash page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was a Guardian.
Sure.
Because they have that kind of crazy hair.
And the big head, and they're little guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope, Merwitten, not one of the Guardians.
Yeah. And so after some time, Merwitten's actually able to use his magic inside this world that...
Within the ring.
Within the ring, yeah. Which is kind of weird because we know that previously Hal Jordan has gone inside of the ring, but it was this crazy...
I think Merwitten
crazy world.
was able to manipulate it with his magic.
Right.
So he's...
But we didn't encounter Merwitten at that point.
Right.
Yeah. And so
Because he's just gone into the ring.
Right.
So, right?
No, Abin Sur pulled him into the ring and created this world for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess maybe Merwitten was taking a nap. Maybe that world is so big and we didn't see all of it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Okay.
And so Hal gets his whole story, and he's like, well, gotta shrink down. I gotta go deal with this guy.
That's so weird, because I don't think of the ring as, I have the power to shrink.
Right.
You know? He essentially makes the atom redundant in the Justice League.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Other than Hal is not a scientist like Ray Palmer, so Ray's got that going for him.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
And, I mean, over time, the abilities of the ring changes. And so...
Or just like, there are things you can do, but you just don't see them do them.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
anyway.
Green Lantern goes into the power ring in this weird green bubble. And Merwitten, he talks a lot. But it's all like this magical kind of verse stuff.
Yeah, he definitely rhymes spells.
Right. And he launches Green Lantern up in the bubble into the sky, I guess. But Green Lantern escapes.
There's all kinds of monsters made out of magic.
Right.
We see this awesome, like, snake dragon thing that is... This is a not lazily done Gil Kane monster.
No.
This is classic Gil Kane right here.
Yeah. So, what we notice is that Green Lantern doesn't have his power ring.
Oh, yeah. Because he's in the ring.
And so
is he able to do stuff, like, with ring energy, though, in it?
Yeah, because he has command over his power ring.
So, basically, he has command over the whole landscape there.
Right, and so he's able to create these monsters to fight the monsters that Merwitten creates.
Yeah!
And then, at one point, Merwitten destroys all the stuff that he created.
Yeah.
And has Green Lantern fall into this pit.
Yeah.
and in kind of a primitive way, decides I'm not going to use magic to kill you. I'm just going to throw this big rock at your head.
And then Green Lantern turns the rock because Merwin is got this boulder holding over his head. He's going to throw it. How? And then Green Lantern turns the rock into a balloon and makes Merwin float away.
Right? Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
Well, at least he didn't have to make him say his name backwards like Mixius Pitalik.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how Superman is able to do that every 90 days. I could figure out maybe to do it once. Maybe. But anyway.
So we flash back to, or flash forward. We flash over to Hal and Pieface.
Later, at the Hall of Justice, later, when that story's over, the Hal's wrapping up telling it.
And so he relates how he was able to control things.
Yeah.
Inside the ring, because he has control over the ring, even from a small distance.
And so, Pi asks how he's going to keep him defeated permanently. Hal said that he willed him to remain silent, and so if he can't talk, he can't cast any spells.
Yeah.
Okay, I know Merwin's going to come back,
Uh-huh.
so of course there's going to be some way he gets out of it.
Right, yeah.
But those are fun.
Okay.
So, man, what a couple of cool stories those were.
Yeah.
And now on to maybe the most boring who gives a crap issue of Green Lantern ever.
Absolutely.
Maybe that's a little harsh, but on this issue.
I absolutely agree with you. It is
because there's no villains.
No.
The non-villain stories are good as a backup, but don't have back-to-back those stories in the issue. So this issue is a bit of a fail. It's Green Lantern number 27. It is the March 1964 issue, and the lead story is Mystery of the Deserted City, written by Gardner Fox, penciled by Gil Kane, and inked by Joe Giella.
Not a warning, but
Meh.
yeah, I did not enjoy these. I don't have much to say about them at all.
That's fine. Well, we'll probably burn through them really quickly. Then.
If you feel cheated, I'm sorry.
Well, you can't be expected to or have tons of things to say about every comic book story.
Absolutely.
Pick it up and read it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we're wrong. Maybe these are the best Green Lantern stories ever. I actually did kind of I did take a little bit of a shine to the backup story in this one.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't as bad as this first one.
Yeah.
So let's dive into this first one.
The lead story.
Yeah.
Mystery of the Deserted City.
Yeah. So it starts off, people are
being robbed by this guy who's stealing stuff, and he's basically intangible.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
But he's able to pick stuff up.
Yeah.
And they're not able to stop him. At one point, he gets shot through the leg, but it misses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Carol.
Yeah.
She's going out. Oh no, she's sending Hal out to Pioneer Bluffs, a kind of deserted town.
Yeah.
And we get this kind of backstory about the town, how the Indians attacked the city and cut it off from the rest of the country, laying siege to it. Like the Indians are the bad guys.
Yeah.
I would just like to say, the Indians are not the bad guys in any of these
Spencer
stories.
is an Apache. No lie. Honest engine. I'm sorry. That's just awful of me to make that joke. But it's true.
If they laid siege to something, it was theirs first anyways.
Yeah.
So, give it back.
Yeah.
Now.
I am proclaiming on this episode of Comic Reflections, I demand reparations.
Okay. Isn't that kind of a black thing?
Not
just kidding. Gosh. Can I just watch me just dig myself into a deeper hole? What's that?
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding.
A little awkward.
Don't you get a check every month for, just for being alive?
Yeah.
It's kind of a small, pittance for having your culture
no, it's not
destroyed.
From the government.
Not from your government. It's casino money, right?
Yeah.
So if you're ever in Oklahoma,
Apache, Oklahoma is exactly where
is literally that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
Interesting. Isn't that where the wind comes whipping down the plains?
It is.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So if you really want to support Comic Reflections, you're going to do all your gambling in Apache, Oklahoma.
Absolutely.
It's really called Apache, Oklahoma?
Huh?
Dude, that's awesome. Is Geronimo from there?
No.
He was an Apache, though.
Yes.
But I guess they were in more than one place.
Yes.
Okay.
Spencer's loosely related to him.
Yep.
Are you?
Yep. I can draw a line.
Cool.
I can too.
I need a ruler, but as long as we get something with a straight edge, I can draw a line. That's pretty awesome, though. He's like one of the grooviest Indians ever.
Yeah.
Him and Cochise.
Cochise is bad A.
What tribe was he from?
He's Apache.
Is he?
Yeah.
Awesome. I had a book about Cochise from when I was a kid. It was great. Seriously.
Who's the dude you're directly related to?
Cochise.
Really?
Is it Megas Colorados?
Yeah, it's like uncles.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, this isn't.
The more you know. Star in the background.
Yeah. We just got one to grow on, guys. Do you remember those from the 80s? One to grow on?
Nope.
Before your time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Near the end of that decade is when I was born.
Okay.
Well, no. In the middle of the decade.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
It's okay.
What year is it?
Back at Pioneer Bluffs, there's a new machine. It's basically a seismograph. It's going to be able to detect earthquakes better, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's in some kind of danger. Green Lantern goes out and... Oh, no. It picks up a frequency in the earth that's bad, and it's going to cause an earthquake, and it's going to destroy everything. Green Lantern flies into the core of the earth, and he melts some rocks and eases the tension on the tectonic plates.
Of course he does.
Everything's good. But on his way back, he lands in Pioneer Bluffs, and everyone is gone.
But they are invisible, but they can see him, but they can't touch him. So they're on a different vibrational plane.
Right, yeah. And so there's a little boy, and he is... he knows about Green Lantern. He loves Green Lantern and the willpower.
So he wills Green Lantern to be able to see him, and it works.
Yeah, well, he wills the ring to light up.
Yeah.
And then Hal's like, hey, what's that? And then the ring kind of, oh, it's a bunch of people on a different plane.
So you know the robber who can turn intangible and invisible and stuff? How did he get to do that? Was that explained at all?
I don't think so. I don't remember it being explained at all.
Yeah, because I was like, how did he get to do this?
I think, like, later on it shows him, like, messing with this thing on his wrist.
Okay, so maybe it's an invention.
Yeah.
And the side effect was affecting other things around it.
Right.
Okay. Got it.
But he like, mind probes a few guys, and he sees an explosion. He goes back to the place. He finds a footprint. He tracks the guy down, the bad guy down, and he's going to rob another bank. The guy's setting up more explosives, and Green Lantern shoots his beam, but it doesn't do anything to him, to the bad guy. And the bomb goes off, and Hal is caught in it. But he's fine because he's the Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And that there's way more stories after this.
Yeah. And he basically puts the bad guy's getaway car through like a Hot Wheels tube.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
like,
then, you know the Hot Wheel track would like flip around?
Yeah.
This is just like a tube that does that thing.
Right.
Like the rubber bumpers and stuff.
So the guy, we find out he's jumping through planes of existence. Or different dimensions.
Yeah.
He jumps in, like, the next dimension he jumps into, there's, like, giant bacteria that is, like...
And I have to say, these giant bacteria are, like, straight out of something Steve Ditko would draw.
Yeah, they're pretty crazy looking.
And I really think that, in a lot of ways, like, Ditko is a big influence on Gil Kane.
Yeah.
Not, like, all the time, but, like, there are elements I'm like, oh, there's some Ditko stuff going on here.
Oh, okay.
So.
Cool. Green Lantern realizes what he's doing. He jumps through as well, using the power ring. But then, oh no, he pulls Green Lantern through. Sorry, using his wristwatch weapon thing.
Yeah.
And traps Green Lantern there. But they can't be affected by the power ring for some reason.
Yeah.
And so he tries to jump to the next dimension, but for some reason there's this yellow-ish thing on the border of the next dimension,
Yeah.
and so he can't jump through.
Right.
And then he remembers that all of space is like curved, and so he like rides the curve to the 5th and 6th dimension,
Yeah.
and then it would
Aims
finally
a left at the 7th.
right, and then eventually curve back to his
Even though he could have
dimension.
just made a right turn at Albuquerque.
yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Ipso facto.
Into planes +5 and +6,
Okay.
and so on to my point of origin. So he's just going in a big circle.
Through infinity
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
and beyond.
He pops back out, and he the bad guy for some reason has come back to the normal plane,
Yeah.
and he gets him.
The end.
Then
Okay.
basically, he gets the little kid gets his picture with Green Lantern.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah, really. So, but the backup story, a little more interesting.
A little bit more.
Just a little. It's called The Amazing Transformation of Horace Tolliver. It was written by John Broome, penciled by Gil Kane, and inked by Joe Giella.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
So the amazing transformation of Horace Tolliver. So it's a Pie Face case story or case
Files or whatever.
yeah case files story.
Thing Spencer doesn't like.
Yeah, basically I've not really enjoyed any of them so far.
This one I think is a little better than some, though.
So we have Hal telling Pie Face a story.
About a time that he's embarrassed about something he did with the ring.
Right. There's this guy, Horace Tolliver.
Yeah.
And he's a shrimpy little guy. He gets bullied by his boss. Gets bullied by his
Wasn't he like a bank
coworkers.
messenger?
Yeah. He gets bullied by some youths.
They refer to as JDs, juvenile delinquents.
Yeah.
Jump out of garbage cans. Look at that greaser hair on this one guy.
Right. He calls them roughnecks.
Yeah. You roughnecks.
And as Hal is passing by this, he's kind of watched these interactions with these guys. He's like,
And he thinks, wonder what's this guy's really like deep inside? What would happen if someone could secretly grant his wishes?
Right.
Oh, and then the ring just does it.
Yeah.
Because this is before Hal would keep the ring on at all times and make it invisible. When it's in his pocket, it's like stray thoughts can just kind of do stuff.
Yeah.
So...
And so, Horace gets nailed with the power beam, and he's walking down the street, and this like tough guy gym rat is standing outside the gym, and he grabs Horace and says, "Here, let me give you a hand." And he's like gonna pick him up and throw him through a window.
And then all of a sudden he can't lift him. Right.
And then like the guy changes like drastically from panel to panel. If you look at the pictures.
Yeah, I am.
He looks like this really like suave looking tough guy to this like apish kind of exhausted looking guy.
It's funny.
Evolves.
Not quite. But
Horace decides, whoa, what happened? And he goes and weighs himself.
I still weigh the same.
Yeah. And then he's like, whoa, I wish I could fly. And then he starts flying.
So he realizes anything he wishes for, he can do.
Yeah.
And so that changes the guy. He quits his job.
Yeah. Quits his job.
Tells his boss to go pack snow, basically.
Yeah, well, the boss grabs him and he kind of flings him to the floor. His coworker, who was a bully to him, like, he shoves by and he puts him on, like, a coat rack.
Horace puts him on there, yeah.
Horace puts him on a coat rack.
And he plays a prank on the neighborhood punks.
Yeah. Gets them kind of thrown into a garbage can.
Yeah. And then he just becomes a lion of industry.
Yeah.
Just by gaining super smarts.
Right. And Hal, watching TV, realizes, hey, that's Horace Tolliver.
The bank messenger.
Yeah.
What? Now he's this big industry guy? What happens? I need to visit him. And so he realizes he'd given him power from the ring. He says, I can't. It's against the rules of Green Lantern. So he's got to take it away.
And Horace has none of that.
Yeah.
He, out of nowhere, as Green Lantern is talking, as he's monologuing, Horace thinks, I need his powers. I wish for his powers. And he gets them. And he pops Green Lantern right in the face with a power beam.
Yeah, and then he says, that bank owes me money, so I'm going to go...
Well, he flies over the bank, steals some money, flies through the wall, and Green Lantern's right on his tails. But they have a bit of a fight, but Horace is no match to Green Lantern.
Right.
Green Lantern smacks him in the face with a giant palm.
Mm-hmm.
And
to the hand.
So he takes the power away.
Back. Yeah.
But then it turns out everything's okay because it created a change in Horace.
Yeah, it built some confidence in him.
Yeah.
And he went back and got his degree or something.
He went to night school, got a better job. he got a girlfriend.
Yeah, a fiance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reminds me of that ELO song, The Ballad of Horace Wimp.
Oh.
You ever heard that one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and so...
And the guy's name is Horace.
Yeah. Pieface is all excited because it's a new story he's never heard before.
And he's just rushing off. He's got to write it in his journal.
Right.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the next and final issue that we'll talk about today, this is a good one, baby.
Yeah.
It's Green Lantern number 28. It's the April 1964 issue. And the lead story is The Shark Goes on the Prowl Again.
Mm-hmm.
Again!
Yeah.
I said it weird, but... Anyway, written by Gardner Fox, penciled by Gil Kane, and inked by Joe Giella.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, the shark came back.
Yeah.
But didn't he get turned back into a shark at that end of the last story?
Yeah.
So, what the crap, yo?
Yeah.
The reason he gets out of this is so strange.
Yeah.
Really weird. Okay, but...
So, let's see, who is it? It's...
Hal and Carol are surfing.
Yeah, with Pieface and Turga.
Of course.
And then out of nowhere, the shark shows up and
Holy crap.
captures Turga, Carol, and Pieface.
Right.
Because he knows the identity of Green Lantern.
Man, I never... I had read... Before we started reading the showcase, I'd read, a story with the shark.
Uh-huh.
And I never realized just how, many powers he had, how powerful he was. Dang, dude.
Yeah. And so Hal dives into the water and wills his power suit to be there, and he puts it on. And he does this weird rake thing to find his friends.
Yeah.
And instead of finding his friends, he finds the shark.
Who, holy crap, it's the shark.
Yeah. And so he starts to do battle with the shark. But then first we get, the backup story, or the
recap of the previous story
Right.
that the shark appeared in,
yeah.
and how he escaped from being turned back into a shark. Turns out, when Green Lantern had rendered him unconscious and then therefore powerless, the shark made his costume with the yellow aura look like him, and that got turned into this form of a shark and put in a tank. And his costume, folded up, was really the shark.
Ah.
Which is the weirdest crap that I've read in a comic book recently. And I read comics on the frequent, yo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait,
So
what happened?
I will... You just gotta read this, Sean, because it's so
I
weird.
got to.
Yeah.
So while his uniform swam in a glass tank at the aquarium, the real shark lay ignored in a corner of Coast City Police Headquarters, folded
in the
up.
shape of a folded up uniform.
Right. I'm in no hurry while I recuperate. I'll formulate a new plan of action for my next encounter with Green Lantern.
His powers allow him to fold up.
As a suit, yeah.
Huh.
It's so weird. I don't...
Thank God they invented the.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's nifty, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really outside the box thinking.
Yeah.
So all of this
Down the street.
is
Yeah.
outside of our story.
What now?
Our story, basically, the shark is underwater. Green Lantern finds a way to make him visible
Yeah.
Follows him back to his kind of lair,
Yeah.
and he rescues his friends by grabbing them out of this box
Uh-huh.
and lifts them into the sky using a hand and like puts them into a cloud to hide them from the shark and puts them on this like glass looking
Platform.
platform. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
But then the shark wills the clouds to like release all the moisture, and so the friends are exposed in the sky.
Yeah. But then Hal beats the shark, or at least temporarily.
Yeah.
He creates these giant tuning forks, a pair of them.
Yeah.
And the vibrations like mess up his mind.
Yeah.
And so he can't think good or something.
Yeah. So in retaliation, he like, I guess not really retaliation. He just kind of like takes off. He flees the fight for a moment. Green Lantern goes after him, and he like launches these 2 missiles at the shark.
Yeah.
But the like wave thing that he was escaping in, like bounced him back at Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And it knocked him out. But for some reason, the shark catches him.
What?
And saves him from falling.
Why? If you wanted to be
scrambled his brains?
I don't know. I think it's because letting him die from the fall is too easy. You know, villains are.
I want to be the one to kill him.
The vanity of supervillains. They always they don't want it to be too simple. They want to drag out the defeat of their enemy. You know, and it's always their undoing. It's like you're killing me, guys.
Right. And so he puts him down,
shoot him in the head,
and he
double tap.
Yep.
Nobody ever does a double tap.
Nope.
So
to make sure he's completely out, he's going to take off his ring. And I mean, again, it was another weird situation where he tries to take off the ring, and immediately Green Lantern's fist comes up and clocks the shark and knocks him out.
And there's a weird explanation there too, because once he's rendered unconscious, Shark doesn't use any of his powers, and Hal can totally.
Right, he doesn't have that yellow aura around him.
So he definitely turns that he devolved the shark this time and puts him in a thing where he can't hurt anybody.
Right.
And then we have the reveal of Hal goes back and meets up with Carol, Pieface, and Turga, and Carol's really upset. She thinks Hal's dead.
Yeah.
Green Lantern tells him no, Hal's fine. And then Hal explains what was up with punching, taking off the ring and then punching the shark.
So he made like a duplicate ring and he left it on his right hand.
And he switched the actual ring to his other hand and made it look invisible.
Right.
And so it wouldn't be awkward for when he punched the shark.
Right.
I'm like, what? Yeah.
It was weird, but hey, the shark.
Yay, the
That's
shark.
Fun.
He's a good villain.
Yeah.
So, the backup feature, and the last story we'll talk about today, is The House That Fought Green Lantern, written by Gardner Fox, penciled by Gil Kane, and inked by Joe Giella. And I'm trying to remember this story.
It's just about like him trying to do fixer-upper, trying to get
Yeah.
all ready to market.
Remember the movie The Money Pit?
Okay.
Right.
With Shelley Long and Tom Hanks.
Or like Funny Farm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
Who was the gal in that with him?
Oh,
Funny Farm.
Was...
While you think about that,
We're going to talk about this.
So Green Lantern's fighting crime. He stops a criminal on a motorbike, and then on the other, one got away in a motorcycle, the other one got away in a car.
Yeah.
Hal creates a treadmill-like thing and puts the car on it, and so he's not going anywhere.
Right.
Picks up the criminals. Hal redoes his oath.
Charges up the ring, yo.
Yeah, recharges his ring. lets them know that lets the police know that, hey, the guys had just picked up a part of a bigger gang, and they made it away. They were a distraction for the real criminals to get away. And so Hal goes back to the bank and finds footprints, finds a real car, and he ends up at the so-called House of Coast Heights. It's a creepy looking house on the outskirts of Coast City.
Okay.
And he blasts the house with the power ring, and he figures out where the bad guy is. Goes inside. The guy pulls a gun. He melts the gun.
Yeah.
And throws the guy against a grandfather clock, and it starts like tick 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 tick. Yeah. And so he fires his ring over at the guy when the guy kind of runs away, and all of his stuff is like miniaturized. It's really weird. And so he sends like hands at him, and they're really small, so he can't grab him very well.
Yeah.
The guy goes around a corner and then disappears, and his footprints are gone, and the bad guy is kind of under the house, causing crazy stuff to happen.
Okay. He's like got secret panels with like control dials.
Right, yeah.
It's very Scooby-Doo.
Yes, very Scooby-Doo.
Madeline Smith.
There you go.
Madeline Smith. What do I know her from? What are some other stuff that she's in? But anyway, there's a robotic bear.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That grabs him, and then he tries to use like buzzsaws to cut off the arms of the bear.
Of course he does.
And then he realizes all my stuff is shrunken down. If I shrink down, it'll work better.
What? I don't think that makes any sense.
Yeah. So Hal finds the footprints, finds the guy, goes out onto a balcony. The guy runs up and pushes.
I love how
Hal.
he can detect footprints with the ring.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they might leave a heat signature. He's,
Sure.
Yeah. He gets pushed off a balcony, and right before he hits the ground, he does like a parachute thing with the ring, and he's, oh, thank God, my ring works well outside of the house.
Yeah.
So instead of going outside of the house, or going back inside the house, he lifts the house off of its foundation.
And shakes it, rattles it, rolls it.
Spins it around. The guy falls, drops the
satchel with the money.
And he falls out of the house. He goes back in and realizes, oh, the vibrations of this grandfather clock's pendulum affected the gem in my power ring in such a way that it caused everything the ring formed to appear miniature-sized.
Of course.
Yep. So this issue is just full of weird stuff.
Yeah.
He goes in, he stops the clock from ticking.
Yeah.
And everything is dandy.
Okay.
Yeah. That's our comic collections for this
time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
We're gonna
Watch
eat.
Funny Farm.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's got Chevy
It's got
Chase.
a big rock that rolls down a hill.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Hilarious!
That is a fun movie.
It hits the surveyor's car, and it's all crumpled in.
Oh yeah, I remember that rotted old bridge that the movers came over.
I was terrified of bridges as a kid because of that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
But
wild.
like wood bridges, like enclosed ones.
Yeah, like the bridges of Madison County.
Well, you're an idiot.
Oh, of course. They're too. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, he is. He's got guns.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he likes to talk to chairs.
Oh yeah. Oh jeez, I forgot about that.
Bye.